everyone, I'm Julia Schaefer and welcome to Farewell My Manicure TV. On this week's episode, I make another Christmas gift in the shed using the drill press. When we get down and dirty in the garden, I'll tell you some interesting facts about the rosemary bush that you probably didn't already know. And right now, let's discuss our most valuable resource. Let's get started, shall we? Well, I've picked a perfect day to talk to you about our most precious of resources, rainwater. And if you don't have a rainwater tank, I reckon you're probably kicking yourself about now because it's been coming down in buckets all day and last night. I'm rubbing my hands together because we do have one, a fairly significant one actually. It's days like this we wish we had two so we could be capturing it all. But we only have one. Never mind, we have to save up for the second one. The cool thing about a rainwater tank, I guess on a global scale, is that in your own area, depending on the roof size or the catchment area of your property, your family could actually be saving 75,000 litres of drinking water per year by capturing rainwater and utilising it in various ways around your property. The strange thing is that rainwater tanks come with a lot of council regulations. For example, like our property here, we have the mains water running past our house. We have to be connected to it if it passes our house. We can't disconnect from it, so we're still responsible for the admin charges that go along with that. And B, we can't actually drink, it's illegal to drink our own rainwater that we're collecting, which seems so ludicrous, but it's council regulation. So you can utilise the water for other areas around your home, obviously, like topping up your swimming pool. You can connect it to the cold water tap on your washing machine, use it in an external tap, once again for watering the garden, washing your car, that sort of thing. Feeding your animals is fine, watering your animals is fine, but you can't drink it yourself. Crazy. New areas that are springing up on the Gold Coast, like in Pimpama and Coomera, they're actually requiring you to put in a small rainwater tank, and it has to be plumbed into your cold water tap in the laundry and an external tap for watering the garden, etc. So things are turning around now that councils are actually making those sorts of regulations. Hopefully we'll get more rainwater tanks in houses as they're being built, which will be terrific for the environment. I'm really glad that we started that initiative about the first year after we bought the house, and it's certainly done us well, particularly when it's been a very dry period and our swimming pool has needed topping up continually. Anyway, I know that all the council rebates have now gone by the wayside, so it's something that you have to save up for physically, but I really do encourage you to get a rainwater tank. It makes days like this seem so much better. Well, as you know, times are ticking away and Christmas is just around the corner. So I've decided today to take the time and make another Christmas gift. And in the meantime, I want to talk to you a little bit about the difference between a handheld drill like this one here or a drill press like the one behind me. And what's the benefit of using a drill press over a handheld drill? I also need to show you the difference between a drill bit and a spade bit, because we're going to actually use a spade bit today in our work to create a tea light holder. This tea light holder is going to be made out of a piece of fallen timber so that it has a rough and rustic look, and it's going to look fantastic on the deck of this particular friend that I have in mind. So here's the piece of timber that we're going to be drilling into, and what we want to do is, see, it's flat on one side, rounded on the other. What we want to do is create some little holes that we can fit a tea light in. So like this, a tea light candle. So I want to do 1, 2, 3 holes along the top of my piece of timber to fit tea lights in. And I think that's going to look really pretty. So what we need to do is sink them in about however deep that is. Like it's about 1 centimetre deep. So we have to make sure that we have accurate holes. 3 1 centimetre deep holes, and they've got to be this diameter. So if you've done any work with a handheld drill before, you'll know that the thing that goes in the end of it's called a drill bit. Now here are a couple of, this is a really huge one, but it's a drill bit, okay? So that fits inside the chuck on the end of the drill. The difficulty with this though, is that it relies on you to be accurate. You've got to be straight up and down to make an accurate drill hole, and you don't want to wiggle it side to side. And when you've got a spade bit attached to it, there's a lot more pressure on this piece of equipment. Let me show you what a spade bit looks like. So here's the spade bit. We know that this 38mm spade bit is actually perfect for creating a hole for the tea light candle to go inside. But you can see that that flat bit is actually going to create a lot of pressure. So you don't want to be the one having to hold the drill while it drills this hole. That's why we're referring back to using the drill press. So the drill press is actually a really big drill that you don't have to hang on to. Up in the top section here are a series of pulleys and belts. And like when you're pedaling on a bicycle, you can gear up or gear down to make it work faster or work slower. We want with the spade bit to actually work quite slowly so that it actually creates shavings of timber. Similar to when you are sharpening your pencil, it creates those small shavings. If it goes too fast, it's actually going to create too much work for this drill to do, and you might end up breaking something. So we don't want that. We want just shavings of timber to come off slowly. So we're going to be in control a little bit about the pressure of that drill, but also the mechanism is going to be controlling the speed. It's very similar to a normal drill in that it has a chuck, similar to the one we've seen on the handheld drill, and we need to insert the spade bit up into that chuck. Up it goes, and then we're going to tighten that off. Now finger tight's not good enough, I'm afraid, so we get the chuck key and we stick it in this little hole here and we give it a tighten. And now if we were using just a normal standard piece of timber, the vise that comes with the drill press would be big enough, but it's not. We've got a big piece of solid timber that's out of the yard, so we've had to rig up a jig that would fit our particular piece of timber to stop it moving around once we're drilling the holes. So as usual, before we get started, it's important to put on your protective gear. So I've taken off my bracelets and my rings, or no, these ones are still here, take them off. Put my hair up because we've got a rotating mechanism that will scalp us if we got our ponytails caught. And I've got my safety goggles on. And this is because it creates a lot of sawdust, so you don't want to get sawdust in your eye. Now I've got my boots on, etc. We're ready to get started. Now, I haven't got enough room to actually put this big piece of timber underneath my spade bit at the moment, and that's because we have a table here that we can adjust up and down to get the right height. We need to unlock a mechanism here, and then there's a handle on the other side that we wind up or down. I'll just do that for you now. Okay, loosened it up, and we're going to wind it down a bit. There we go, just enough to get it in underneath the spade bit. See how it fits under there now? Easy peasy. And then we're going to lock this in place. Okay, because this didn't fit in the little jig that came with the drill press, we've rigged up our own specific jig to fit this log in place. So now what we need to do is just tighten up this side, and that means our piece of log is not going to move when we're starting the drill. So on the other side over here, there's a depth gauge. So you need to accurately measure how deep you want your hole to be and how much the distance is that it's going to be traveling from where you've got it now positioned down to the depth that you want it to end at. So I've set the depth gauge, and we're going to start with the middle hole and get that done first. Okay, switch her on, let's get started. Okay, let's dust her off and see how it fits. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so now that's about the right size to put our tea light candle in. Probably could even go down a little bit deeper, so I might adjust it for the next two to make it a little bit deeper for the tea light to go in. Okay, so we finished hole number 2. I'll just undo it from the jig that we've created to show you. Okay. See, so look at that consistency. So that's the thing that you can't really achieve when you're using handheld drill, but that's the benefit of using a drill press. It's controlled movements and consistency. So consistent depth, consistent width makes the job a whole lot easier. Of course, it's horses for courses. Certain things are absolutely perfectly suited to handheld drills. But I just wanted to explain the difference between a drill bit and a spade bit and a drill press and the benefits compared to a handheld drill. I know it's not a piece of equipment that most people have in their shed. You can actually buy portable bench attachable drill presses that you put your normal handheld drill in a vise and can control it up and down like we did with this mechanism. But yeah, they're very useful to have, particularly if you're doing crafty type items that require consistency. So there you have it, the finished article. I think it's going to look really nice on their deck. I like the rough and rustic look about this, particularly that's why I chose a rough hewn log. But if you wanted something a little bit more, I don't know, smarter, I don't know, you might want to sand it back, give it a coat of varnish or stain, or just rub some vegetable oil or wax into it, bring out the colours of the timber. It also will help protect it from the elements. But I like it just the way it is now, so I'm hoping that they will too. Well, it's about time I gave Rosemary a haircut because she's really taking over the herb garden and sprawling everywhere. In fact, it's such a healthy plant because every so often I do give her a big prune back and that encourages more growth and makes a bushier plant. Now, one thing that you might not know is that rosemary grows really easily from a cutting. So no need to race down to your garden centre and buy a potted plant, which can be quite expensive. All you need to do is take a 30cm cutting, strip off some of the bottom leaves, dunk the end in some organic honey, and it acts as a rooting compound, and then pop it in a pot, and within a week to 2 weeks you'll get the little fine roots growing and you'll have a healthy rosemary plant before you even know it. One of the other cool things that I like to do with rosemary, because I love to barbecue, is to strip off the leaves off a 30cm cutting and use it as a basting brush over my lamb chops. So just dip it in a little olive oil, baste your lamb chops with it as they're cooking on the barbecue, and it infuses that beautiful fragrance and that beautiful taste through your meat. The other thing that might be interesting to you is that studies have proven recently that smelling rosemary can actually increase your memory by up to 75%. So why wouldn't you have some in your study, in your office, somewhere close at hand to help increase your memory? That's really quite significant. Now, rosemary loves a Mediterranean climate, and they grow lots of rosemary in Italy because it flourishes there. And one thing that I've heard from an Italian friend of mine is that the old mamas, once they finish washing the dishes and drying them up, would throw their tea towels on the rosemary bushes to dry, because the air and the sun would warm the rosemary bush, it would dry the tea towels and infuse them with that beautiful fragrance. So then the tea towels would go back in the drawer, back in the cupboard, and that fragrance would take over their whole kitchen, which is a lovely story. I hope it's true. So you can infuse rosemary into olive oil just by putting a cutting in your olive oil. You'll have your own rosemary oil. It's very easy to do and you don't need to buy an expensive bottle of infused oil. Simple. So I think that's pretty much it for the rosemary plant. I hope you've enjoyed this segment. Make sure you find someone who's got a healthy rosemary bush and you take a cutting, and before you know it you'll have a healthy plant of your own and more rosemary than you know what to do with. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and join us on the website www.farewellmymanicure.com. See you next time.